Tyreek Hill is bullish on what he sees from his quarterback, but are we? D'Angelo, I'm going to start with you. How confident are you in Tua?
Look, hearing that report that Tua throws one of the prettiest balls he's ever seen, like when I was watching Tua coming out of college and in college, I thought the same thing, right? I'm a huge fan of Tua Tagavailoa. But in this league, it's a what have you done for me lately league. And I just have not seen it from Tua. And so am I confident? Not really. Do I believe in this football team? Yes, they've gotten a lot better. You think about all the weapons they've added. And when I say weapons doesn't mean just speed. I'm thinking about Teron Armstead, the all-pro left tackle. He's going to help that football team be able to run the football. If they can run the football and do what Mike McDaniel wants to do, play action pass, kind of be similar to what the 49ers do with imposing their will on their opponents. I got all the confidence in the world. If this offense can stay on schedule by being successful running the football, we know what this defense brings to the table. I mean, everything I saw from Tua in college showed me that this dude can absolutely be a stud. Add a guy like that, Chase Edmonds, to the pack. I mean, he's a home run hitter, catches it out the backfield. I mean, your prototypical type of San Francisco back that's going to succeed in these zone scheme run games. So I'm excited to watch this offense. And, you know, am I sold? Not quite yet, but I can be persuaded to it. So let's go.
Well, that's one of the things, D'Angelo, is that I feel like we've gotten a little bit spoiled in this league with guys like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, who've hit the ground running and have put up prolific numbers over their first couple of seasons in the league. But, you know, everybody's different. Every quarterback's different. Every situation is different. I don't want to give up on Tua too early. I'm similar to you. I was confident in him coming out of college. We saw him play at an exceptional level at Alabama. He came out, he rallied that team to a national championship win. And so I would really hate to just move on. You know, it's one of those things like you could go to BuzzFeed right now and read all these articles about, you know, celebrities who are told they would never make it in this town. Steve Carell was never going to be a A-list actor and then eventually turn it around. And I think that it's worth giving Tua this opportunity with Mike McDaniel to go out there and prove himself and kind of establish that he can be that guy. You know, he still was working through an injury coming out of college. We had the COVID season. I actually do have a lot of confidence in Tua, and I think he's going to get it done this year.
That's great. I love that you do. And D'Angelo, I think your take is good too. Here's the deal. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't. There's been flashes, but has Tua made that big throw that Herbert can make? No. Has Tua had a big win in the NFL in a late December, early January game? No. And yet, there's reason for confidence, and it's not just the players on the roster. I'm going to go back to that head coach, Mike McDaniel. Here's the facts. Mike McDaniel was hired to get the very most out of Tua Tagovailoa in 2022. It was him or Kellen Moore. Who's going to be the young offensive coach that is going to not only make this man's career, but save the Dolphins from irrelevance for yet another season? Here's the deal on McDaniel. He is a quarterback whisperer, okay? Kyle Shanahan's always been the guy above him on the org chart, but he's been the guy in the quarterback's ear a lot of these times. If there was a bad cop in Kyle Shanahan, there was an arm around you in Mike McDaniel. And one of the points that has been made time and time again on this show that I will say again, every quarterback that Mike McDaniel has coached, and he's been on the staff, has had the very best individual season of his career with Mike McDaniel on that staff. That goes from Robert Griffin III, that goes to Matt Ryan, that goes to Matt Schaub in the Houston days, and that goes to Jimmy G most recently. It goes right down the list. If you want to bring up Brian Hoyer and what Mike McDaniel's staff did with Brian Hoyer, having him at 7-3 and on the top of the AFC North a few years back, that was Mike McDaniel's staff. Now, he's the head guy. It's not necessarily the one in the quarterback's ear every day. But gosh, if there was ever an arsenal of players and a coach that could get the very most out of Tua Tagovailoa, it is that guy. So I'm going to say right now going into this, I've got my questions on Tua, and I think that's fair, but I think he's got all the tools and he's got the right coach to bring the most out of him.
I agree with you guys, and I agree with you, Shregs. I think that there has been some off-season changes that are really positive for Tua. And every single time I think about Tua and what a special guy he is, I think back to this moment. I believe this happened after his first start in the NFL. After the game was over, he went out onto the field and just sat there and had a moment and was like, this is my life now. You can just tell, and the way that Mike McDaniel also talks about him, you can tell that this guy just loves football so much. And I think that sometimes because of how well-spoken he is, he's polite, he's smart, he's a little bit more reserved. Maybe people have questions about his passion, but look at this passion right here, okay? It might be a quiet moment, but he is feeling it. Now he's got a crazy weapon in Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's also very confident in this guy as well. I don't know if you saw those quotes. But I kind of feel just like what you were saying, Shregs, you've got some questions. This might be, like a make it or break it situation this upcoming season. We had those conversations last year about, is it going to be Deshaun Watson at the Miami Dolphins? He had to go through all of those conversations, all of those questions, and now he's going to have to go out and prove himself this year, but he's got a pretty sweet team to do that with.